What would happen if, say, you're in a more traditional relationship with your vendor and you have a single person who goes on vacation for a week? You can't do anything. You don't know who to talk to. They have a backup who has no idea in context of what's going on.
Yeah.
We don't have that. We have full engagement with our small project teams with you directly, which I think just leads to better, more efficient work and also better work at the end.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with John Ragozzine. He's the Director of Agile at Alley. John, welcome to the show.
Kelsey, thanks. It's great to be talking to you today.
Yeah, excited to have you. So, John, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, like you said, I'm the Director of Agile at Alley. We're a web agency. We work with publishers all over the world. I specifically lead an individual team here, as well as all of our Scrum Masters in-house to focus on project management. Before that, long ago, I was a web developer. I did that for a while, and I've been working remotely in project management and Scrum for about 10 years.
Nice. Awesome. So tell me a little bit more about Alley.
Absolutely. So like I said, we're a web agency. We have been remote since the first day. So we were founded in 2010. Our name is a play on the idea of Silicon Valley. There was a pun running around in Manhattan that it was Silicon Alley in the big city. So Alley is where the name came from. At the time, I wasn't with the organization, but I came here about 6-7 years ago and have been helping publishers ever since.
That's great. So talk to me a little bit about kind of what that looks like.
Sure. So we can kind of do everything that a publisher would need. A lot of our employees are web developers. We do a lot of web development for publishers, but we also do design work, data visualization work, audience research, user experience, strategy, kind of whatever you need digitally, we can help you.
Wow, that's fascinating. So what would you say the biggest challenge that your customers have before they start working with Alley is?
I think it's twofold. One is a relationship with whomever they're working with on their web products. Often it's a vendor relationship. So it's very much unidirectional. This is what we think we want. Can you do this? It comes up all the time. Clients will ask, hey, is it possible for us to do this idea or that idea? And, given enough time and money, you can kind of do anything. This is the right choice. So what we try to do is be a much more of a close partner and a collaborator with our clients to listen to what they want, but also to have our own ideas about how we can make their goals be achieved. Every client of Alley gets partnered up with a product manager who serves as not only our Scrum team's product owner, but also a strategist to work with you and to kind of talk through goals and lead you through some of the less obvious things that might be able to be going on with your product. I think that's one thing. I think the other thing that kind of happens is if you're working in a web agency, you might talk to like a client manager or some type of a handler, for lack of a better word. And we don't really believe in that. We want to connect our teams, including our developers, directly with clients to hear, to talk, to build a human relationship, but also understand what their goals are so that we kind of cut out middlemen. We're much more of all of our team working directly with you to help you out.
Yeah, that's smart. So that way kind of it changes the communication and really makes it sounds like, the Alley team an extension of the other team. Am I kind of hearing that right?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. Like what would happen if, say, you're in a more traditional relationship with your vendor and you have a single person who goes on vacation for a week? You can't do anything. You don't know who to talk to. They have a backup who has no idea in context of what's going on.
Yeah.
We don't have that. We have full engagement with our small project teams with you directly, which I think just leads to better, more efficient work and also better work at the end.
Yeah. So kind of talking about your clients, are there certain trends in, specific industries and verticals that you see, working with Alley?
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, we're really dedicated to publishers, freedom of speech rights, things like that. It's very important to get words out in a way that makes sense at a large scale level. That being said, we work with media companies, but also nonprofit organizations, governmental agencies that kind of put out news on, for public opinion, for entertainment, for policy, for health news, things like that. We have a lot of work, like I said, in the foundation space as well. People doing really good work that have to get the word out.
Interesting. And when you're talking about those publishers, are there certain size, publishing agencies that tend to work better, or does it run the whole gamut?
I would say medium to large. We work with a lot of, like, for example, public radio. They're regionalized. So we have a lot of public radio areas, but also, large scale publishers. Like one of our longest term clients is New York Post, who are putting out millions and millions of words every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's a huge client to be able to drop. So kind of talking about, what differentiates, Allie from the competition, it sounds like one, rather than kind of having that single point person, you're able to use the entire team. What are some other ways that, you're able to differentiate yourself from the competition?
Sure. Although, I do carry a director role, that's a support role rather than a managerial role. Allie, as much as possible, tries to be a flat organization, meaning that, anyone can talk to any of the partners here to get their guidance, and there's a full level of support behind everyone. None of the teams are left out kind of in the cold. That being said, the goal is to really empower everyone to think through what their clients may need or what would be beneficial, and to put that work out. There's not a single person saying, like, this is what we're going to do. Here are your tickets, developer. Please go do that work. Instead, it's really like, what would make the most sense? What do you think would benefit them? Do you have any ideas that we could work with clients on to kind of like move them from, instead of A to B, move from A all the way to D or E?
Yeah. Yeah. And, what I'm hearing is communication is really a core tenet and one of the biggest pieces of Allie. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have 3 values at Allie. One of which is transparency. I feel communication slips right underneath that.
Yeah.
And then accountability and quality. So not only do we want to put out quality work, but also realize what we are on the hook for.
Yeah.
It's, again, not being a vendor, it's being a partner.
Yeah. So in your time at Allie, talk to me a little bit about, how Allie's been able to grow and scale and what you've seen, what changes you've seen.
Sure. So when I joined, we were still working in a more traditional web agency model, meaning you had products come in, you pulled people from all over the organization to work on them. They may work on one product together and then not work on anything else. So they're working and answering to multiple different prioritizers, I guess, for work. Yeah. In late 2017 and early 2018, we went through a full agile transformation. And so we moved everything from disparate people working together with other folks to dedicated core stable Scrum teams. Yeah. They get a kind of a book of clients, a small book of clients that they're working on not only together so they can learn each other's abilities and developers can build more rapport together to kind of be a team and prop each other up, but also they're working on the same projects. So if you have an idea for something, you can run it by everyone who has that context, who has that communication, has that relationship with the client as well. I feel like having done that now for, 5 years of stable teams, I've really seen a lot of benefits for it. Teams may swap and change as necessary. Clients may come in and go, but I've seen work get done not only better, but in a more supportive, transparent way. Yeah. People here, when you work with the same folks all the time, you build a rapport and you don't get nervous about asking, for help or asking for an idea. And that's where the real good stuff can happen, when people are working together rather than singly alongside each other.
Yeah. So, kind of talking about your clients, when they start to work with Allie and the team, what does that onboarding process look like?
Sure. So like I said, every client works with a dedicated stable team.
Right.
Each team has, as far as Scrum goes, for Scrum roles, a product owner and a Scrum master, as well as the developers or designers on those teams. The teams are small. Usually they're between maybe 6 and 10 people total. So it's the same faces all the time. When you come in, what we want to do is want to develop an idea of like what you want to achieve, large ideas over the next 3 months. What is your roadmap? How do we lay all that work out? And how do we build a product backlog for you? Yeah. Items that are important, then how do we organize it with you to make sure that we keep moving forward and don't get stuck? I think, with other, let's say, more traditional project management roles, you'll kind of like be working on something and then a new idea will come up. You'll put this half-finished thing down, do the next thing for a little while, and then nothing actually gets done. Nothing is getting achieved. We're very focused on, we work in 1-week sprints. So every week we're coming together, we're looking at each of our clients' products, replanning, reorganizing what we can do so that at the end of the next week, we can ship things out every week, continuous improvement. And that's really what that's all going to be about.
Yeah, interesting. So John, pivoting a little bit, kind of, and taking a few steps back, what would you say one of the biggest misconceptions that you've heard, in the industry or about Allie kind of over your years in what you've been doing?
Yeah. So, here at Allie, a lot of our products are built on top of WordPress. Not entirely, but quite a bit. And WordPress has grown, over the past umpteen years, 15, 16 years, from being like more of a individual publishing tool for blogs to being something that's really, really powerful. Websites that are built on top of WordPress are most of the websites that you visit over the course of your time on the internet and can do a lot. So some of it is overcoming that. Some of it is unwinding people from more proprietary content management systems. People get nervous. They don't understand. They think that WordPress is going to be a simple tool. On top of that, we actually I've seen a little bit of concern as far as, oh, you work in Scrum. What does that mean? Like, is that going to be, because, Scrum came out of different industries and it was made, most famous, I feel, in the automotive industry for factory creation and whatnot. And it's like, well, I'm not building a car, I'm not building a plane. I want to like make a website that can show pictures of something. What does that kind of look like? But really what it is product focus and getting people to realize that like their website is a product and that product is used by individuals, and getting out of their own kind of headspace to realize that like, I may feel that this one area of the website is most important. It's not tied to any metrics. We look at we look at kind of like the visitors for the site. No one's using this. Let's not spend time on that. Let's instead talk about what else we can do and develop ideas together. It's really hard when you're working with a vendor and you need to come up with all the ideas. You hire expertise to help you, not just to be the person who does the work for you, to be a tradesperson. It's great to have that as well, but you need the help for strategy. And that's what we can kind of provide to people once they let us in a little bit more and realize that we can really help them out.
Yeah. And it goes back to kind of those 3 tenets that you were talking about, those 3 core values of, I think you said, transparency. Don't quiz me on this. Transparency.
That's one. So far, you're 33% there.
I know, right?
Accountability, and quality.
Yeah. So it goes back to those 3 tenets kind of everything you're saying, like the importance of having those 3 going into a relationship and making sure the other people, on the other side of the relationship, your clients understand kind of what the ask and what the deliverables are, right?
Yes, exactly. And again, we don't put a buffer between anyone.
Yeah.
You can talk to whomever on your project team you want to talk to or you jibe with. And that's really important too, that you don't want to have like order takers or people who are kind of out of touch. The worst thing you can do is have a fantastic idea that will take a year and a half to build when you need it next month. So it's good to have everyone in the room and everyone have a seat at the table.
Yeah, interesting. So John, is there a great way to kind of get in contact with Ally? Is there a different way, the best way to learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. Our website's pretty simple. It's ally.com, ALLEY.com. You can find us there. We're on every social media platform as well. And our website's pretty accessible. There are lots of ways to engage with us, or you contact me directly. I don't mind. Whatever works.
Fantastic.
We'd love to hear from people.
Love it. So John, as we start to kind of wrap up this podcast, is there anything that you want our listeners to know, about the industry, about the space, about Ally, anything like that?
I think the most important thing that we strive for and that is achievable is that you can have really clear ideas about metrics and progress in a project sustainably for your teams, sustainably for your people. You can plan several months ahead. Previously in doing estimation in a more waterfall fashion, we would kind of guess like, I think this will take this long. Let's see what happens. And then you come up 18 months later, nothing has occurred. Whereas with how we operate from an idea of like constant inspection and iteration, we can usually nail those things down to a pretty like specific delivery window for folks with lots of headway. Like you will know we're launching in 8 weeks with your product. What do you need to do as far as internal training and as far as announcing and marketing to make the biggest splash at that time? It's not a surprise. We can really plan for it while still being agile and adapting the plan to what's going on right now.
Wow. Is that normally like the time frame, the turnaround?
It depends on what it is. It always will depend on like what we're doing and what availability we have for that. But typically with larger builds, this is anecdotal, but typically with larger builds, I will have an idea of we will be completely done on X date, and it's usually about a 2-month window. So then we can adapt. We can add more to the product without risking a launch date, or we realize what we can't fit in right now and change our plans to make sure that we still have a great, complete product when that time comes.
Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the game.
Awesome, John. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to be on Business Ninjas today. This was a great conversation, and I'm very thankful for the other insights that you were able to give our listeners.
No, anytime. I love talking to you. I hope you have a good day.